There are moments in life when a person suddenly feels the weight of unrealized potential pressing against their chest, moments when the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Maybe it hits while standing in a crowded room, knowing deep inside there is more to give. Maybe it hits during a quiet night alone, staring at a ceiling that has heard every promise, every excuse, every dream placed on hold. Or maybe it hits during an ordinary day, in the middle of routine, when a sudden thought cuts through the noise and says very clearly that life cannot continue the same way. That thought is not weakness. It is the beginning of awakening. It is the moment a person becomes aware of what they could be if they stopped accepting limits that never belonged to them. A life does not change by accident. It changes when a person refuses to let time slip away unnoticed. It changes when they stop waiting for motivation to carry them and start building the strength to carry themselves. Time moves fast. Opportunities move even faster. But a person who decides to rise gains the power to outrun everything that once held them back. That rise begins with building the skills that support a strong mind, a steady spirit, and an unshakable direction. These skills decide whether a person grows or stays stuck, whether they live with purpose or live on autopilot, whether they wake up proud of their progress or tired of their excuses. There is something life-changing about the moment a person becomes fully aware of how powerful they can be. It shifts the air around them. It sharpens their focus. It creates a pressure that feels uncomfortable at first, but that same pressure eventually becomes fuel. Inside every person is a version of themselves that could change everything. More disciplined, more confident, more clear, more capable. But that version does not appear through hope or luck. It appears through building the skills that turn effort into results, emotion into clarity, time into progress, and dreams into something real enough to touch. This introduction is not here to make you feel good in the moment. It is here to wake you up, to shake the part of you that has been settling for less, to remind you that you are standing at the doorway of a new life, and the only thing separating you from it is the decision to start strengthening the abilities that shape every step forward. You are not too late, you are not too broken, you are not too behind. You are right on time to build the version of yourself that you have imagined for years, the version that moves with purpose instead of hesitation, the version that does not crumble under pressure, the version that leads, grows, and rises. This is the moment to stop drifting through life and start shaping it with precision. The moment to stop explaining why things never change and start creating the change yourself. The moment to stop watching others rise and start becoming the person who rises. You are standing in the exact place where transformation begins, and the skills you are about to learn will not just improve your life, they will rebuild it from the ground up. The decision you make right now will echo through every year that follows. This is the beginning of your rise. This is the moment you take control. This is where everything shifts. Skill 1, time management. The value of a day becomes clear when a person finally notices how quickly it slips away. A morning feels full, an afternoon feels comfortable, and then the sun sets, and there is a quiet moment when a person wonders where all the hours traveled. That moment often carries a mix of regret and clarity because it shows how easy it is to drift through time without shaping it. Many people move through their days with a long list of intentions, but very little follow-through, not because they lack the desire to grow, but because they never learned the skill of handling their hours with steady attention. Time has a way of rewarding those who treat it with care, and today is the chance to start shaping it in a new direction. The simple truth is that a life can change when a person realizes that every hour is a container And what gets placed inside it determines the strength of tomorrow. There is something powerful about taking control of a day from the moment it begins. Waking up with a sense of purpose creates a different feeling in the body. The breath feels more open. The mind feels cleaner. The heart feels a little more stable. It is as if the room becomes brighter, not because the light changed, but because the inner world did. When a person decides to take authority over the first hour of the day, something remarkable happens. The entire day starts to align itself around that decision. Time responds to firmness. It responds to order. It responds to intention. The beginning of a day does not need a complicated routine, because the real power lies in consistency, not complexity. Even a simple start, sitting quietly for a moment, reviewing priorities, choosing what deserves attention, can set a tone that protects a person from being pulled into distractions. Distractions carry a heavy cost, even though they appear harmless. A glance at a screen, a conversation that stretches far longer than needed, a moment of hesitation that turns into half an hour, each one takes a small piece of a day. One piece does not seem like much, but many pieces leave a day empty. Most people do not lose their dreams in one big moment. They lose them in small moments that dissolve into nothing. The reason time management matters so much is because it protects a person from that slow loss. A person who understands time understands that attention is a resource, and it must be directed towards something that matters. When attention drifts without guidance, life also drifts, and drifting never brings a person to a worthwhile destination. Taking control of a day means choosing what deserves energy before anything else attempts to claim it. This requires honesty, and sometimes honesty feels uncomfortable. A person must look at their goals and ask which actions actually move them forward and which ones only keep them busy. Busy does not mean productive. Busy only means occupied, and a person can be occupied for years without making any real progress. Each morning becomes a chance to choose the tasks that hold real value. The atmosphere in the mind changes when a person gives their time to actions that produce growth rather than noise. There is a calmness that comes from knowing the day has a direction, and that calmness fuels stronger focus. Many people avoid planning because they fear it will make their day rigid, but planning does the opposite. It creates freedom. When a person knows what needs to be done and when they will do it, stress softens. Anxiety reduces. The mind stops worrying about the unknown because it has a structure it can trust. Even if things shift throughout the day, a simple plan gives a person something to return to. It is a guide, not a prison. The confidence that comes from structure is real, and it shows up in the way a person speaks, works, and responds to change. Days that once felt overwhelming start to feel manageable. Time management also reveals the truth about habits, both helpful and harmful. A person who watches their hours closely begins to notice which actions drain their energy and which actions increase it. Maybe it is the way the morning is spent, or the way evenings are wasted, or the small choices that seem harmless but slowly weaken discipline. Once a person sees these patterns, they have the choice to change them. Change does not need to be dramatic. Even a small improvement repeated daily creates a shift that becomes noticeable. 1 hour used wisely can reshape an entire week. 1 full week of focus can reshape a month. Over time, the changes grow larger and more visible. There is something deeply empowering about knowing where time goes. It turns a person from a passenger into a creator. Life begins to feel intentional. Work feels more meaningful. Relationships become richer because the person shows up fully instead of rushing through conversations. Health improves because there is room in the day for self-care. Peace grows because the mind is no longer cluttered with unfinished tasks and forgotten responsibilities. Time management is not only about accomplishing more, it is about experiencing life in a fuller, calmer, more present way. A major part of managing time is learning how to say no without guilt. Many people struggle with this. They say yes to commitments that drain them because they do not want to disappoint others. But saying yes to everything steals time from the things that matter. Saying no is not unkind. It is responsible. It is protective. It is a way of honoring one's own priorities. When a person chooses to value their hours, they stop giving them away so easily. This creates more room for real growth. It also creates more respect from others because people naturally honor someone who respects their own time. There is always a moment during the day when the energy drops. The mind feels tired. The motivation weakens. This moment is important because it shows whether a person has built strong habits or weak ones. Strong habits carry a person through the low moments. Weak habits collapse under the pressure. This is why structure matters. A schedule gives a person something stable to follow when enthusiasm fades. Enthusiasm is temporary. Discipline is steady. When a person has a clear plan, they can continue moving even when the emotional drive is low, and that steady movement creates progress that lasts. At the end of the day, time management becomes a form of self-respect. It shows a belief that one's life is worth shaping with care. It shows that goals deserve attention. It shows that growth matters. There is a quiet pride that comes from looking back on a day and knowing it was used well. That pride builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum. Momentum turns effort into achievement, and achievement turns dreams into something real. Every person has the same number of hours in a day. The difference lies in how those hours are used. A person who learns to treat time with intention gains an advantage that cannot be taken away. Days become productive. Weeks become meaningful. Months become filled with progress. A life becomes something to be proud of. The power begins right now, in this moment, with the simple decision to handle time with clarity, honesty, and commitment. That decision can change everything. Skill 2, effective. A person's entire direction in life can shift the moment they understand the strength behind clear and honest communication. It's a skill that shapes careers, relationships, confidence, and even daily choices. Yet most people move through their days without ever giving it the attention it deserves. The way a person speaks, listens, and expresses their thoughts has the power to open doors or close them. It can build trust or weaken it. It can bring opportunities closer or push them away. Communicating is not just about words. It is about the impression those words leave behind, and learning how to handle that impression with care changes everything. Many people think communication is natural and effortless, but in truth, it is one of the most deliberate skills a person can develop. When communication becomes clear and grounded, life becomes smoother, problems become easier to solve, and misunderstandings become far less common. There is something deeply impactful about speaking in a steady and sincere way. People can feel the difference when someone talks with a sense of purpose instead of scattering words without direction. A person who communicates well carries a certain calmness. They speak with intention, and their presence becomes stronger. They don't rush. They don't try to impress people with complicated language. They simply express their thoughts in a way that others can understand easily. This simplicity draws attention because clarity is rare in a world full of noise. It's the kind of presence that makes a person memorable, and it's the kind that builds long-lasting respect. One of the most important parts of communication is learning to listen with full attention. Most people think they listen, but in reality, they are only waiting for their turn to speak. True listening means giving space to the other person, hearing their words without judgment, and noticing the feelings behind those words. When a person listens fully, the other person feels valued, and that feeling opens the door to trust. Conversations become smoother, conflicts soften. It becomes easier to understand what others need and easier to express one's own needs. Listening is a skill that brings calmness into any interaction, and that calmness can change the outcome of a conversation entirely. Clear communication also requires not the kind of honesty that hurts or attacks, but the kind that expresses truth with respect. People often avoid being honest because they fear conflict, yet avoidance only creates more problems. When thoughts remain unspoken, resentment begins to grow, misunderstandings multiply, stress builds. But when a person learns to express their thoughts openly and respectfully, problems shrink instead of expanding. Honesty handled with care strengthens relationships instead of weakening them. It creates a foundation of reliability, and reliability turns a person into someone others can count on. There is also great value in staying calm during difficult conversations. Moments of tension test a person's communication skills more than anything else. When emotions rise, words become sharp, and sharp words can cause damage that takes a long time to repair. A person who can keep their voice steady during conflict gains a tremendous advantage. They think more clearly. They respond instead of reacting. They stay focused on solving the problem instead of attacking the person. This level of calmness makes a person appear stronger, and people naturally respect someone who can hold steady when others lose control. Developing this calm presence takes practice, but the results are worth every effort. Body language plays a huge role in communication as well. A person's tone, posture, eye contact, and facial expressions often speak louder than the actual words. People can sense discomfort, confidence, impatience, or sincerity, even before a sentence is finished. When a person aligns their actions with their words, their message becomes more believable. A relaxed face, steady eye contact, and a grounded posture create a sense of trust. It makes people feel safe enough to listen. Awareness of how one's presence affects others is part of effective communication, and even small improvements can create a noticeable difference. Many opportunities are won or lost because of how a person communicates. A strong message delivered with confidence can change the direction of a conversation, a meeting, or even a career. Some people miss chances not because they lack skill or talent, but because they struggle to explain their ideas clearly. The ability to express oneself in a simple, grounded, and confident way is priceless. It allows a person to advocate for themselves, share their goals, and influence their surroundings. A person who communicates effectively becomes someone who can open doors that others cannot. One of the biggest changes a person experiences when improving communication is the shift in their inner world. When words become clearer, thoughts become clearer. When thoughts become clearer, decisions become easier. When decisions become easier, confidence grows. It creates a chain reaction that lifts a person mentally, emotionally, and socially. People begin to respond differently. They listen more. They engage more. They respect more. And all of this begins with the simple choice to become more intentional with speech. Communication also shapes the way a person talks to themselves. The inner voice affects energy, mood, and self-belief. When a person uses calm, steady language internally, their confidence rises. Harsh self-talk weakens the spirit, but supportive, clear internal communication builds strength from within. A strong inner voice leads to stronger outer communication. When the mind is organized, the words become grounded, and grounded words create powerful connections. Great communication is not about perfection. It is about growth, awareness, and sincerity. A person improves this skill by paying attention to the way they interact daily, during conversations with loved ones, during work discussions, during quiet moments of reflection. Every day offers a chance to express thoughts with more clarity to listen with more patience, and to speak with more intention. Over time, small improvements grow into a strong, natural ability that influences every area of life. People thrive when communication becomes a strength instead of a weakness. Misunderstandings decrease. Stress becomes easier to manage. Relationships deepen, opportunities expand, a person begins to feel understood, valued, and capable. The world responds differently to someone who communicates with purpose and clarity. And the greatest part is that this skill is available to anyone who decides to practice it. It only requires awareness, patience, and the desire to grow. Once communication becomes a skill a person handles with care, life begins to move in a clearer, more confident direction. Each conversation carries more meaning. Each interaction becomes more predictable. Each day feels smoother. That is the power of mastering communication, and it is a power that stays with a person for a lifetime. Skill 3, financial literacy. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize how much of their future depends on the way they handle money. Not just how much they earn, but how they think about it, how they use it, how they protect it, and how they prepare it to grow. Money touches every part of life, and yet many people move through the world without understanding how it really works. They work hard, they try to get ahead, but they often feel stuck because they never learned the skill that turns effort into security. Financial literacy is not about greed or chasing luxury. It is about building stability, peace of mind, and the freedom to live without the weight of constant worry. It is a skill that strengthens a person's confidence and reshapes their entire future once they start to understand it with clarity. There is something powerful that happens the moment a person becomes aware of where their money actually goes. Most people think they know, but when they take the time to look closely, they often discover expenses that quietly drain their resources. Small purchases that seemed harmless, habits that slowly grew over time, monthly charges they forgot existed, all working together to pull money away before they ever noticed. When a person finally sees these patterns, they feel both surprised and relieved because awareness gives them a chance to take control. Control brings calmness. Without control, money becomes a source of stress. With control, it becomes a tool for progress. Financial literacy begins with understanding that money must be handled with intention, not emotion. It is easy to spend out of impulse, boredom, or frustration because spending gives a very quick sense of relief. But that relief fades fast, and what remains is the growing pressure of bills, responsibilities, and uncertainty. A person who understands money learns to pause before acting. They think about what matters long-term instead of chasing a short burst of comfort. This shift in mindset protects them from decisions that harm their financial future. They begin to feel more grown because every choice they make with their money now has a direction instead of drifting without purpose. One of the most empowering parts of financial literacy is learning the difference between what is necessary and what is only noise. A person who understands money starts to separate wants from needs with a calm and honest approach. This does not mean living with restriction or denying joy. It means creating balance. It means choosing what actually brings value into life instead of being pulled into the pressure of buying things just to keep up with others. True confidence does not come from ownership. It comes from control. It comes from knowing that life is stable because decisions are thoughtful instead of rushed. Financial literacy also includes understanding how to prepare for unexpected moments. Life brings surprises, both good and difficult, and having a financial cushion creates a sense of strength during uncertain times. An emergency fund may seem simple, but the peace it brings is enormous. It offers the quiet comfort of knowing that one unexpected event will not collapse everything. This kind of stability clears mountains. It allows a person to breathe easier, sleep deeper, and move through life with more clarity because they are no longer carrying the fear of what if every single day. Another major part of financial literacy is learning how to grow money instead of allowing it to sit still. Many people believe that earning more is the only path to financial strength, but growth comes from understanding how money works over time. Saving is important, but saving alone does not create long-term security. Money must be placed where it can increase. Understanding interest, learning how investments work in simple terms, recognizing the power of long-term growth, these skills turn small amounts into something meaningful. A person does not need to be wealthy to start. They only need to begin. Growth happens slowly but steadily, and the earlier a person starts, the stronger the future becomes. Financial literacy also teaches a person to handle debt with clarity instead of fear. Debt becomes overwhelming when it is ignored, but becomes manageable when it is understood. When a person learns how interest affects them, how payment habits change timelines, and how to create a plan for reducing debt without panic, they regain a sense of power. Debt no longer controls them, they control it. Even small steps make a difference because consistency builds confidence, and confidence reduces the emotional weight that debt can place on a person's shoulders. One of the most valuable lessons in financial literacy is learning how to create multiple paths for money to flow in. Relying on only one source of income keeps life fragile. When one source fails, everything shakes. But when a person builds additional streams, no matter how small at first, they create a foundation that is much harder to break. A person who understands this begins to think creatively. They look at their skills, their time, their strengths, and they find opportunities that they may have ignored before. Even a small additional income increases stability and reduces pressure. Over time, these small additions build into meaningful support. Financial literacy also changes the way a person handles generosity. When money is managed well, giving becomes easier. Helping others becomes more enjoyable because it comes from abundance instead of sacrifice. A person who manages money wisely can support their family, contribute to their community, and make a difference without harming their own stability. Generosity becomes a source of joy instead of stress, and it strengthens the connection between financial responsibility and emotional fulfillment. There is something deeply uplifting about learning how money works. The confusion fades, the stress fades, the fear fades. It is replaced with a sense of control and understanding. A person begins to make decisions with confidence instead of guessing. They know where their money is going, they know how to protect it, they know how to grow it, they know how to prepare for the future. This knowledge creates a sense of peace that cannot be bought. Financial literacy is not about becoming perfect with money, it is about becoming aware, steady, and responsible. It is a lifelong skill that grows with experience, with mistakes, and with reflection. What matters most is the decision to take ownership over the financial side of life instead of leaving it to chance. Everything becomes easier when money becomes a tool instead of a burden. A person gains freedom, choice, and stability. They live with more clarity and less fear. They build a future that feels secure. And all of it begins with understanding how money truly works and choosing to handle it with intention and wisdom. Skill 4, there is a quiet strength that rises in a person the moment they understand their own emotions instead of being controlled by them. This strength does not shout, does not force, and does not rush. It brings a steady sense of awareness that guides choices, conversations, and reactions in a way that makes life far smoother. Emotional intelligence is the skill that helps a person handle the inner world with clarity so they can move through the outer world with confidence. Many people work hard, think hard, and push hard, Yet they still feel unstable inside because they never learn how to recognize what they feel, why they feel it, and how those feelings shape their behavior. When a person becomes emotionally aware, they gain a level of personal power that cannot be taken away because they're no longer reacting blindly. They are responding with intention. A person's emotional world is always active, even during moments of silence. Stress, excitement, fear, hope, doubt, and ambition all move through the mind like waves. And if a person never pays attention to these feelings, the waves become storms. Emotional intelligence begins with noticing what is happening inside without trying to run from it. Most people never slow down long enough to understand their own emotions. They push them aside, they suppress them, or they pretend they are fine when they are not. But when emotions are ignored, they grow stronger and begin to influence behavior in ways that create conflict, confusion, and unnecessary pain. Becoming emotionally aware does not fix everything overnight, but it creates space. A space where understanding can replace frustration and clarity can replace. One of the most important parts of emotional intelligence is learning how to stay steady when emotions rise. Every person knows what it feels like when anger, fear, or disappointment tries to push them into saying or doing something they regret. In those moments, the body tightens, the voice becomes sharp, and the mind becomes cloudy. This is where emotional intelligence shows its value. A person who understands their emotions pauses before reacting. That pause becomes a form of protection. It gives the mind time to settle and the body time to breathe. That small moment can prevent arguments, repair misunderstandings, and guide a person toward decisions they will respect later. Emotional intelligence also teaches a person to understand the emotions of others. People often say things they do not mean when they are stressed. They speak out of fear, insecurity, overwhelm, or exhaustion. Without emotional awareness, their words can be taken too personally, which leads to unnecessary tension. But when a person learns to look beyond the surface, they begin to see the real message behind someone's behavior. They realize that many conflicts are not personal, they are emotional. This understanding brings more patience into conversations and creates more harmony in relationships. People feel safer around someone who can remain calm during emotional moments, and safety builds trust. Another powerful part of emotional intelligence is the ability to identify emotional triggers. Everyone has moments that set them off, a certain tone of voice, a type of criticism, a reminder of a past experience, or even a situation that feels uncomfortable. When a person does not recognize their triggers, those triggers control them. But when they become aware, the triggers lose strength. Awareness turns emotional reactions into choices. Instead of exploding, shutting down, or running away, a person can choose a healthier response. This shift creates emotional maturity, and emotional maturity improves nearly every area of life. Emotional intelligence also strengthens confidence. When a person understands their emotions, they stop doubting themselves so easily. They know why they feel the way they do, and this awareness removes confusion. Confidence grows when a person feels in control of their inner world. Decisions become clearer. Goals feel more achievable. The mind becomes more stable. Emotional chaos drains energy, but emotional clarity increases strength. A person who understands their emotions becomes someone others rely on because their presence feels grounded. A major part of emotional intelligence is learning how to express feelings in a healthy, calm, and respectful way. People often avoid expressing their emotions because they fear judgment or conflict. They hold everything inside until it builds into pressure. But communication becomes easier when emotions are expressed without aggression or blame. Instead of attacking, a person shares with honesty. Instead of shutting down, they open up. This kind of communication builds healthier connections. It reduces misunderstandings and makes it easier to solve problems together. Emotional intelligence gives a person the courage to speak with honesty and the wisdom to speak with compassion. Self-awareness is only half of emotional intelligence. The other half is self-management. Awareness teaches a person what they feel. Management teaches them what to do with those feelings. Sometimes this means walking away from a situation until emotions settle. Sometimes it means adjusting expectations. Sometimes it means apologizing. Sometimes it means forgiving. Emotional management is not weakness, it is strength. It is the ability to guide the inner world instead of being tossed around by it. Emotional intelligence also improves decision-making. When emotions run wild, decisions become impulsive, rushed, or destructive. But when a person understands both their emotional and logical side, they make choices that align with long-term goals instead of short-term feelings. They consider consequences, they think about their future. They act with stability. Decisions made from emotional clarity build a stronger life because they are rooted in awareness instead of stress or fear. There is also a peaceful feeling that comes from knowing how to handle emotional pressure. Life will always bring challenges, unspent news, disappointment, moments of uncertainty, and changes that cannot be controlled. Without emotional intelligence, these moments can break a person's spirit. With emotional intelligence, these moments become manageable. The mind remains calmer, the body remains steadier, the heart remains stronger. Difficult moments still come, but they no longer destroy a person's inner balance. Emotional intelligence also deepens empathy, which improves relationships in ways that nothing else can. People respond differently when they feel understood. They open up more. They communicate more clearly. They trust more easily. Empathy does not mean agreeing with everything. It means understanding how someone feels and responding with respect. This kind of understanding creates stronger bonds, both personally and professionally. The true beauty of emotional intelligence is that it grows with practice. Every conversation, every decision, every moment of stress becomes an opportunity to learn. Awareness sharpens, reactions soften, understanding grows. A person becomes more patient with themselves and others. They build an inner world that feels stable, steady, and strong. Emotional not remove challenges, but it gives a person the tools to rise above them with dignity and clarity. It helps them build relationships that last, make decisions they can trust, and move through life with a calmness that others admire. It turns emotional chaos into emotional power, and once a person develops this skill, they carry it through every part of their life, creating a future that feels more grounded, more peaceful, and far more fulfilling. Skill 5, self-discipline. Self-discipline is the skill that quietly separates a life that moves forward from a life that stays in the same place. It is the steady force that helps a person follow through on their decisions, even when comfort tries to pull them away. It strengthens the mind, sharpens focus, and builds a sense of control that makes every goal feel more realistic. Many people want a better life, but they struggle because desire alone cannot carry them across long stretches of hard work. Desire creates excitement, but discipline creates progress. When a person develops self-discipline, they begin to feel a new sense of confidence because they know they can depend on themselves. That dependable feeling becomes a foundation that stays strong during pressure, tired days, and moments of temptation. Self-discipline starts with a simple truth. A day does not shape itself. A person must guide it. People often wait until they feel ready, but feelings change constantly. If a person relies on their feelings to guide their actions, they lose control of their time. Discipline steps in when feelings fail. It provides direction when the mind feels scattered. It gives a person the ability to stay steady when distraction tries to steal their attention. The moment a person understands this, they no longer treat discipline as a burden. They see it as a tool that protects their goals.